Hey all, and this is the Ragnarok Redux event. This is a Dark Slayer event and Beast Killer. So I have made up a few teams. The first team you can see here was just used to level up the bosses. Then a Slayer team based around the Freedom Fighters. Then a Dark Commander team here. Then finally my old faithful Water Slayer team. So 4 different teams. I'm not going to talk through this team since it doesn't really do any damage. So let's start with the Dark Slayer team. You can see here. Draconic Scoundrels. This is an old Beast Killer card, my only Dark Slayer Beast Killer card that I can really use with this team. It is 5 pink stars, meaning it does have a decent killer skill, 1200%, but as it's quite an old card, there's no damage or attack buff on it, just creates a few power gems and destroys all non-dark gems. High performance unit area. This is used to boost up the Freedom Fighters. Gets that lovely supercharged buff up when you take a hit. Striped Sovereigns. This is quite a good card actually. One of my better Dark Slayer cards, mainly because it increases Dark Slayer damage. You can see here 150%. Metaverse Masters, 150% to the next hero to use their battle skill. This is used to boost up the Freedom Fighters. This is the main hitting card on the team. Once you have supercharged up, you hit with this, then the bonus attack afterwards does 5 times the damage. That's always nice. Freedom Fighters is still one of the best Dark Slayer cards in the game, just because it's rare for the nuke to do 5 times the damage. They fixed this with modern cards, but kept it on this card. Anyway, let's move on to the relics. Since this is a mix of Slayer and Commander cards, I need 2 relics to break the shields. Here's the first one. This breaks most of the shields. Then for my other relics, these are just my best Dark Slayer relics basically. There should be another Beast relic near the end. Yeah, here we go. Here's the final Beast relic. Breaks 2 Beast shields plus 1 per Dark Slayer ultimate hero. So this relic with the first relic is enough to break all the shields, and then just my best 3 relics to fill the gaps. You can also use Almar's Scythe. I will just bring that up. Hold on a sec. Yeah, there we go. This is quite useful. It has that percentage increase to attack, so might be a better option for this team. Since this is an area-based team, it doesn't matter too much getting the Dark Gems at the start. Plus you can use Metaverse Masters to spawn Dark Gems as well. So I think I will put this relic on the team. There we go, that's that team slightly adjusted. Now to move on to the next team, which is my Dark Commander team. Let's talk through this one. To start with, Long Night Harbingers. Increases Dark Commander damage by 140%, which is always nice. Creates quite a few power gems as well. Draconic Pantheon. This gives the next Dark Commander hero to use their battle skill a massive 550% damage buff, and that's used to boost up Lost Covenant. Also has that increase to self damage you can see here. And 2 other cards just to increase Dark Commander damage and spawn the power gems. And that makes up a decent Dark Commander team. Then for the relics, this is basically just my best Dark Commander relics. I only need the 1 relic to break all the shields with this team. You can see here the relics I'm using. Should be the last relic, that's the Beast relic. Yeah, there we go. You can see here, breaks more than enough shields for the Umbral bosses. Then finally, my Water Slayer team at the end. This is basically a variant of the Dark Slayer team with the Freedom Fighters, except it's water. Holiday Saints, this is used to boost up the next water hero, 500% damage buff increase. Combining that with Metaverse Masters with the 150% damage buff, both used to boost up Sovereigns of the Dance. This increases self-damage and converts Dark Gems to water, which is always really useful. Frontier Titans, used to boost up Water Slayer damage, you can see here, 130% increase. Then finally, High Performance Unit Area, used to get supercharged up. Once supercharged is up, that helps to boost up Sovereigns of the Dance even further. But you've all seen this Water Slayer team in previous videos, well hopefully you have anyway. It's always a good option if you don't have anything else, and definitely something that's worth trying. Then for the relics, just the one relic here that breaks 2 beast shields. My other relic didn't quite break all of the shields. Then an arcane relic, just one of my better relics. An immortal relic, one of my better relics. Cater's bow, you can see here, again has a percentage increase to attack and is a decent relic. Then here's the other shield breaker relic at the end, and that's enough to break all the shields. So that's the teams I'm going to be using for this event anyway. If you do have the event deck, you could always try replacing Draconic Scoundrels with this team with the event ultimate form. You could also try a team with the event ultimate form and multiple ultra rare cards if you have them. There's not too many other options that I can really suggest. It's kind of difficult. Most teams seem to be based around Metaverse Masters or Area nowadays with Dark. So let's move on to the actual event. Here we go. Alright, so here's the actual event. I have 3 different teams that I'm going to be testing out here. My Dark Slayer team with Freedom Fighters, my Dark Commander team, then I will use my Water Slayer team as well. Right, so let's start with the Dark Slayer team you can see here. Sometimes the Freedom Fighters does pretty decent damage. All the damage is in the nuke though, as you will see. The boss has Siphon, which isn't really a big deal. All it does is slows down the battle. Right, and here we go. So what you need to do with this team is get Area going first. So turn 1, use Metaverse Masters like this. Then turn 2, use Area to get that lovely supercharged buff up. Then I think just left to right is the best option. But let's give it a go and see what it does. Siphon should be removed as well. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what sort of damage this does. Not a bad grid. Keep an eye on the Freedom Fighters. 3.7Q and then the bonus attack. Not sure what that hit for, I didn't really see. But it's meant to hit for around 5 times the damage. I don't think it did though. Let's try that again. Right, keep an eye on the health. 2Q. Yeah, it did do the 5 times damage. It just didn't seem like a lot last time. I'm not really sure why. Let's do one more hit on the boss though. Then I'll move on to my commander team. Right, here we go. Left to right. And something like that, I think. Just matching the highest 2 power gems. 4.6Q. That's pretty good. So that would have done around 25Q on the nuke. Now moving on to my commander team. If you remember from previous events, the commander gem bonus works on the Slayer Showdown bosses. So this team could be really useful there. I will give it a try on this boss as well. Right, it's just basically left to right with this team. Nice and simple. Let's see if I can get a few Qs going. Right, there we go. And then, as before, just match the highest 2 power gems, something like that. There wasn't anything loose on the board, though, so... Oh, no, that does pretty decent damage, actually. I wasn't expecting that with a board with nothing loose. Let's do another hit. 10.4 Q for a commander deck on a Slayer boss is pretty decent, in my opinion. See how much damage that does with loose power gems on the board as well. Let's try again. I'm quite surprised, actually. Don't normally get this much damage from a commander deck, so I guess this was worth trying. And yeah, on the showdown bosses with the commander gem bonus, this should do really good damage. Maybe even 80 or 90 Q. Again, nothing loose on the board, so this really is a minimal hit. 12.5 Q. Let's see if I can get a better board before I abandon this team and move on to my Water Slayer team. Right. One more and then hopefully all the cards will light up. Yeah, just need a loose power gem somewhere on the board, or maybe even 2 or 3. Then it should do more than 12 Q with a bit of luck anyway. Siphon does slow it down though, you can see here. Doesn't really do a lot, it just slows down the battle. So it's kind of annoying. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to do, that. This should still do, there we go. 19.1 Q, that's not bad. Right, anyway, let's quit out of this team and try my Water Slayer team. So based on previous events, this should do the most damage, but we will see when I start the battle. Right, here we go. So, as with the Freedom Fighters team, I need to get Iria going. So turn 1, do something like that. Match the gems. A nice mix of water and dark gems. Then next turn, use Iria as long as the turn counter is on 1. Which it is. And then just go left to right, I think. Let's see how much damage this does. Annoying Siphon is gone. There we go, and hopefully a few loose gems. Let's see. There's one at the bottom that's loose. I think this is the best option. There's 2 loose gems. Good damage? 74.9 Q. Yeah, that's pretty decent. That's quite a bit better than my other teams. So it seems like my commander team and my water team are the best ones for this event. The Slayer team I made up with the Freedom Fighters, not that good, but the nuke can hit pretty hard on that still. So yeah, at least I have something I can use during the event that's semi-decent. It's still going to take me a long time to get through the Umbral bosses, as you can see here, but at least I can actually defeat them, which is always nice, and I might have a chance of actually staying in Legends. There we go. So I think we can quit out at this point. You've seen that this team is by far the best out of the teams I have made up. Alright, so here we go with the Slayer Showdown. Let's go over to the feature. So I have defeated the level 1 boss. I can't really do some proper testing on these since they are low level. But I can show you a few useful tips. For example, what my Dark Commander deck does here. So as I mentioned in the previous part of the video, you will spawn Commander Gems here, and that should significantly increase the damage. Remember, this is only 1 key and not 3 keys. I was doing a maximum of around 15 Q with 3 keys, so let's see what this does now. with the commander gems on the board. You can see 16.1 Q with 1 key, so that would probably be around 75 Q. That's pretty good damage, I think, and makes the commander deck well worth using here. There we go, one more has spawned. I will defeat this one as well while I'm here. And I'll show you one other useful tip that you may not know. Hopefully you know this one. If you pause and quit out just after you defeated the boss, you can leave the boss unclaimed for later, which is useful for when you come back to these bosses. So just hit the pause and around this point then quit out. There we go. Now I can come back to this later. It's unclaimed but defeated, as you can see here, and that's always useful. So let's have a look at these leaderboards and what sort of rewards this gives. You don't really need to buy the showdown keys since they regenerate. Well, not at this level anyway. If you are going for the top places, you might need to. You will need to 3-key the bosses later on. So I am currently in Iron, which is position 101 plus by the looks of it. You want to try and get top 100 if you are going to play this. That gives you a Bastion shard as well as the Vanquisher shards. 5 rather than just the 1. The rewards don't really change though as long as you get into the top 100, which, if I'm being honest, is a little bit strange. The rewards change a little bit when you get right to the top, but yeah, they're pretty much all the same all the way through, as you can see here. And that's kind of weird. You can see it's shards for 6th place though, and an actual Vanquisher for 5th place. So that's one change, but yeah, the rewards don't change too much. If you are going for this, just try and get into top 100. But there we go. Okay, so I think it's time to start collecting some of the event rewards. Let's start with the Warden collection. You can see here, Bastion shards. You'll probably get a few old Wardens from this as well. Let's see. Right, there we go. That's that claimed. Let's see what Wardens I get. This should be interesting. Yeah, that's not that old, actually. To be fair, I thought it might be older. Then this one, yeah, the Mouse King. Oh, that's a reasonable Warden, actually, to get. That's not too bad. There we go, that's that claimed. Now I can go over and claim my random 6-star hero. Right, so here we go. I could also make half of this deck. You probably saw I have enough season choice coins, but I don't see much point. I won't be playing this event that much, if I'm being honest. As I've said before, I don't really like Slayer, but let's see what I get from this. Well, yeah, that's pretty good actually. It's half of the Spirits United deck. I'm pretty happy with that actually, as Spirits United is still used as a bounty card. Might as well claim this essence while I'm here as well. Right, let's scroll up and have a look at the event ultimate form. So the main selling feature of this deck is the increase to Dark Slayer damage 175%. A 2-turn delay as well, interesting. And just creates a few power gems you can see here each turn. So not a bad deck, but it does seem a bit underpowered compared to some of the other recent decks. So yeah, I don't think this event will be that competitive. And if you are just going to get one of the cards, this would be the one to get, since it has the increase to Dark Slayer damage, plus creates the power gems. If we have a look at the other card, General Wotton, This does create power gems as well, has the delay on it, but no damage buff, so not really of any use, unfortunately, on its own. You need that damage buff. That's the main selling feature of the cards. But anyway, that's what the event deck looks like. Not one I will be going for, I don't think, but it's alright. Nothing spectacular. Decent damage buff. Could be useful in GVG with a 2-turn delay though. So I'm going to do a bit of GVG testing now. I want to show you all what these horrible Putrid hammers do. These only just been introduced to the game. Many players are extremely frustrated about these. These hammers basically ruin GVG, in my opinion, making it almost impossible to take down a defense. I will show you this in action. Normally I could get through the first defender with this team, but just because of that hammer, I have very little chance of winning. This is, quite frankly, ridiculous. Watch what happens to all those power gems. They just all disappear. Look at that. And then you end up with this. Yeah, a bunch of light gems. That's really helpful. So now I'm going to take a massive hit. It gets worse, though, when I start using the battle skills. You can see they're all disappearing. All those power gems are just disappearing. So let's go ahead and try and sort of do something. You can see here they've all disappeared because of that hammer. And you end up with a board something like this. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now what can I do? Well, that. Normally I would get through this defender in one attack. Now it's impossible. Yeah, brilliant idea, Network, to add this to the game. Yeah, I'm going to have a rant about this because it's stupid. It ruins GVG. It makes it almost impossible to really do anything. But yeah, do beware if you see a defense. If it has a Putrid hammer in it, it's going to completely mess you up if you have not practiced against it. But anyway, there we go. And thank you to Megatron for putting this defense up with the hammer. Anyway, let's quickly finish with the newsfeed. I had to have a rant about that, as I think it's a bit ridiculous, if I'm being honest. Just ruins the game. Or ruins GVG anyway. And you can see why so many players are quitting over this. There we go, there's the newsfeed. Slayer's sale now on, just trying to sell some packs for real money. I will ignore that. And the Slayer Showdown has returned. I've already talked a little bit about that. Then a few other things here about the Cudgels week. I don't want to talk too much more about those Putrid Cudgels, as they really are just ridiculous. I don't know what you can really do against those except try some sort of nuke deck maybe, but anyway, hopefully at some point they will either realise they're a bad idea or do some sort of counter for them. Until then though, anyone with one of those up is going to be nearly impossible to defeat. But anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope that was interesting and helpful. As always, if you do have any questions or suggestions regarding this video, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to help. If you did enjoy this video, giving it a like and subscribing to the channel is always appreciated. Thank you to those that have already subscribed. We have a previous video on the screen, plus a playlist, plus you can also subscribe from here as well if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.